Well, good morning, folks. I want to read to you from my notes, and I personally am not a public speaker, obviously, but I will read this because somebody had to do it. Because there are men who believe that because they're head of household, that they're in charge. But what about women who don't have a husband? What about women who don't have a husband because of the circumstances? Perhaps they're widows, perhaps they're divorced, perhaps they're divorced not because they wanted to get a divorce, but because they had no choice. Either their husband mistreated them or abused them in some way, or perhaps it was due to infidelity. So you cannot assume that a woman is single because she wants to be single or because she's gay. Not anything against gay and lesbian men and women, but I personally am not gay. I personally like men, but I want a man that I can look up to and follow, because if I cannot find a man like that, then I'd rather be by myself. And with everybody and their brother looking in at me, looking at me from different angles, and looking at every flaw, you feel entitled to judge me. So you try explaining this not only to everybody, but try explaining this to the churches. Okay? Because remember that he's a personal God and he's also a universal God, and he brings all to himself as a whole, one complete church. So I'm going to read this to you. From Paul to men. Because sometimes women have to man up, because we too are made in the image of God. We too are part of the body of the Son of Man, Son of God. Son equals child equals daughter equals Zion equals Jerusalem. All Israel will be saved. Who is Israel? All believing men and women of one true God, the God of Jacob, Israel, all faithful remnant. What remains? Stubborn, born from the stub, the tree that was cut. Jesse, Jesse, us, Jews and Gentiles. Okay. You try explaining this to men, the head of household. It's a lot to cover. So because I am 47. When I started seeing my vision, I was young. And I didn't understand because I didn't grow up reading the Bible. I grew up with a Catholic grandmother, but I did not go to church. My mother gave me the freedom to go to church or not go to church. My mother never kept me from going to church if that's what I desired. So I would go to church with different friends, on occasion, and I went to all kinds of different churches. But I did go to Seventh-day Adventist church with my godmother's mother. Growing up, I went with her, and I did go to, the little Saturday school. But it's not like I grew up reading the Bible in depth, like some of you. And I had a desire to know God personally. That was a desire of mine since I was a child. My Bible was gifted to me at the age of 16 before coming to the United States, and whenever I would read it, I would just not understand it. And one day in my mid-20s, late 20s, my Papa God put it in me to read the book of Revelation and then the book of Ezekiel and take notes. That was what he specifically put in my heart. And so I just want to let you know that unlike some of you, I did not grow up going to church every Sunday or every Saturday. I went to church with my godmother's mother growing up on and off when I would be with her. And that was 3 months out of the year growing up, and it wasn't it wasn't until I was, a teenager, and then I came to the United States. The Bible was something that I was the only one in my household that owned a Bible. My mom did not own a Bible. My stepfather did not own a Bible. I didn't grow up learning about God from them. In fact, I had so much freedom as far as, you can believe in God or not, because people believe in God just in case they die. And if there is a heaven, they may go to heaven. And my stepfather gave me permission to have premarital sex as long as I protected myself, quote unquote. I was allowed to go to parties, but I didn't want to stay up all night at a party. I would come home early. I was given a key to come in whenever I wanted, as long as it was before 3 a.m. under the carpet, under the mat. And I had freedom. I did. Because of this freedom that I had, I knew I had the freedom to go to God directly. I just knew my papa was watching me since I was 8 years old, around about 8, between 8 and 10. I knew that my papa was looking at me because he was listening to me. And I knew that he was able to listen to everybody simultaneously. There was no doubt in my mind. But now the challenge was to prove God to you, because some of you say, this is all like a play, like a screenplay. This is all man-made stuff, and it's like, I want to let you know that yes, indeed, there are books that need to be put together. That's true, because there are things that are missing from our books, but we'll see the whole picture when we put it together. Now, I want to tell you that the reason why there's the invisible is, I want to show you this, okay? If you can picture what I'm about to tell you. Earth was formed by God. The world was created by men. Okay? You've heard of the term, this is a man's world. Literally, it is. Because men have control over everything in the world. And you've heard of, it's the end of the world. The end of the world does not mean the end of the earth. The end of the world is the end of things that were created by men, which are not from God. Okay? Now the invisible will become visible to you, because we have men, I cannot say we because I disassociate myself from that. Men, through the ages, through the centuries, have made it a goal, not only of their own personal goal, but to pass it down to the generations, to destroy our earth with the excuse of self-protection or national defense. Through the centuries, this is nothing new. The manly thing to do is to go to war with weapons and fight the enemy because it's self-defense. Although, yes, that is true. We have to protect ourselves from the inside. But how come we have disorganization among us as nations? How come it is that we have a destabilization of our nations? Mass immigration. Whenever anybody enters this country, we only have so many resources. Somebody's resources have to be taken away in order to make, okay? People that come here illegally, they don't pay taxes because the government doesn't know they're here. And people know that. They want to help the immigrants, so they get paid cash. They don't pay taxes. But some of us are being scrutinized by our very government So when we serve our country, we the people who serve the country, who are we serving? Who are we serving? When our very people give more to people who are illegal than it is to the people who are legal. No? What happens to veterans when they're injured from vaccines? Do you think that the government is quick to take care of them? I will share with you. Do you think that these people don't get punished for saying no to a vaccine that they don't know the consequences of? That they haven't gotten punished? And these are the very people who are fighting for the freedom. So my question to America is, what are we doing? When the servicemen and women serve their country, who is America? America is Native Americans, Black Afro-Americans. America is legal, illegal. America is straight and gay. America is Jews and Gentiles. America is rich and poor and homeless. America is all of these things. America is being birthed as we speak. Okay, I don't want to sound grotesque here, but you've heard of the term Peter used for an anatomical part of the body. You've heard the term head for an anatomical part of the body that's not on the top of your head. And you've heard the term used oftentimes by men and women, and it's the truth in our modern days, when people will say, oh, they're thinking with their other head. So they're not thinking, they're just like an animal instinct of just going out there and, you know, having sex for the sake of it. Cheating on their wives or their girlfriends and going out there and cheating. Now, men and women do it too, but mostly men. Most of the cases of child pornography and child molestation are men. Why is it? Because men have become desensitized from the regular pornography, which involves adults. They've become desensitized from looking at beautiful nude women. They've become desensitized, so they have to go into something that's stronger and stronger and stronger. We see this in the churches. We see this among coaches. We see this within families. It is the truth. So we need to speak about these things. So, you've also heard of the term petered out. He petered out, right? That's because somebody didn't have the cojones, the balls to do it. You can have a Peter, but if you don't have cojones, you're not a man. You're not a man if you don't have cojones to say it like it is. With no disrespect, because I have to speak to you in a very mediocre middle ground where all can hear me loud and clear, all walks of life. I have had to become accustomed to speaking like this because I could not do it before. But I have been gifted. I'm not doing this alone. With no disrespect, men and women were created and are created in the image of God, which is none. We have black women, we have black men, we have white women, we have white men, and yes, we all came from a common ancestor. And if we go deep, deep, deep to the root, it is the original human being. From the first Adam to the last Adam. The last Adam is a life-giving spirit. Spirit! Ephraim is the last of Joseph. And Ephraim is the firstborn son. Because the last will be the firstborn Gentile, firstborn of the Spirit of God. And if you think I am here in Montgomery doing nothing at all but picking at my nose with my Q-tips, you are highly mistaken! If you think I have come here to have sex, you are highly mistaken! If you think I have come here to eat, you are highly mistaken. I have come here to give to you this truth that hurts. This truth that is so raw that somebody had to do it. Jesus has already been crucified. It's already happened a long time ago. So I'm not here to be crucified. Peter the first is part of our foundation. He is the rock on which the church is established. He was given the keys to the kingdom. Paul, the last one found. Peter and Paul met. They shared notes. They shared keys. They spoke. Because it's the one key to become one. It's the same key. Okay? Up to the right from the inside is Dalet. It's the one key to become one. It's just a matter of perspective. From the inside. So Peter, also Satan. We have Peter in us. So when you look at a foundation and you look at the layers of the foundation, the very first layer is the last. And the last layer is the first. So from Peter to Paul, the headstone, the capstone, cap, head, crown, found. All of this truth has been built in me, in us. It is in our DNA. Once we get past this, then we can ride smoothly. Because for so long, it's been there. Now, this is the difference between the earth and the world. You have the earth that was created by God, and you have the man's world, which has polluted the earth because of their greed and love of money. And they prioritize Peter, not Paul. Peter, not Paul. Okay? And they prioritize. That's why we have so much disorganization and exploitation and prostitution of young people and women and young men and women. The black market among us. In our faces. the churches as well. So Peter is the first. He's also called Satan. He was given the keys. Okay? But the body of Christ, which we are, says, Peter, get behind me. You're getting in the way. You only have the concerns of men, not of God. Aha. Because somebody has to do it. And we are the body of Christ moving forward. Until we get past this, we can't get anything done. That's why we have so much pollution. Because men have created bigger weapons. Nuclear weapons. All over the earth because they've prioritized this over cleaning up our waters and our air and our land. It is all over the world, affecting our health and our future generations. It's causing mental illness because we are living, absorbing, and eating and drinking this polluted water that's irrigating our what we eat, growing in the soil that's polluted. It causes mental illness, and when you have mental illness, you cannot think properly. Oh, when they call me mentally unstable, because I'm sitting here in my humble clothing, because I'm sitting here without my hair done, because I'm sitting here in my sandals. You think I'm fiddle farting. Oh, no, I'm not. I have something to give. I have everything to give. But my son is my son. My son has never been for sale and for the buying and selling and negotiating among you. I birthed my son. You don't care about my son. No. You don't even care about your earth. You don't. It is apparent. So the earth has been layered with your filth. The world. And this is what we have going on. That's why you cannot see the earth that is there to be seen. You cannot see the earth that is there to be seen because you have masked it with your filth. You cannot see the beauty of God's work because you have layered it up with your world, a man's world. But it has been there all along. So, if our militaries have been training for war, they will have war because that's what they're learning, what they're preparing for. And you men, all of you nations, militaries and generals, need to train for peace so that you shall have peace. Because it doesn't make you a better man when you have bigger guns. When you don't have cojones, you're not a man. So, you can kill me today, but the one in me has already been crucified, and the one in me has already been lifted, and the one in me has already overcome death. Elijah before me. And I may not have a Peter in me, or do I? But I have ovaries in a womb, and I have birthed my children. And I am my Father's daughter, and I am the way He made me, just the way I am. I may not be perfect in your eyes, but I am perfect for this job that I'm in. I have been equipped with the skills to give this to you today. So accept it if you will. I give it to you for free. But my child is my child. And no American-born child in the United States of America should be negotiated among you for any studies or any entertainment. Because I don't trust any of you. Look what you have done with the children of God. It's a whoredom. The whole earth has been polluted with the world so that we cannot see God's beauty. It's been masked so that all we see is the filth, and we cannot see the true beauty of our earth. Maybe in some places, yes, like Hawaii, some places in California, some places in New Zealand, and in some places of this earth, yes. But let's look around at how much we're trashing our earth. Let's go there and clean it up together. Together we get it done quickly, like the little ants. We don't need to be mass incarcerating young men just to have people to clean your streets. We don't need to have privatized jails for your money-hungry people that are monopolizing this. This is no way to live, folks. You're giving the children no hope. You're robbing the children of their hope. This is a man's world, all right, and it is the end of the world. Because earth, which has always been there, our land of our inheritance, will be seen. The invisible will be seen from the inside. Thank you.